Today's episode of the Restoration Today podcast is brought to you by Encircle. Encircle is an all-in-one field documentation platform that puts critical field data at your fingertips and in high-quality reports, streamlining your operations from first call to completion certificate, so you can grow your revenue, increase profitability, and get paid sooner. Encircle recently introduced a new feature called Hydro to make restorative drying simple. Find out more at getencircle.com. Hey there, thanks for checking out this episode of the Restoration Today podcast. Today, I am very excited to be joined by Mike Hopkins. He is the COO of Paul Davis. He's formerly the Executive Vice President of Operations. He was also a regional business consultant. He's been in the franchise world for a while, has started his own franchise, and then has been with Paul Davis since 2015. So I'm going to toss it right over to Mike to get the conversation going. We're here to talk about Paul Davis and growth and what franchises look like in the big M&A landscape today. So Mike, thank you. Can you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us a little bit about your background in franchises?
Certainly. Thanks, Michelle. I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to be here with you. And as we were mentioning earlier, love watching your videos. So thanks for having me be part of it.
Thank you.
I'm certainly grateful. I've been around the FirstService brands for nearly 30 years and been around franchising for a very long time. But I think more importantly and relevant is that I've been around construction that whole time as well. And absolutely love this industry. When Paul Davis got acquired by FirstService in 1999, that was when I was first very excited about what this industry did. I mean, I look at what we do for a living and we get to help people on really bad days, where I see what we all do as an emergency room for a home or a business. Nobody wants to show up, but everybody wants good care when they arrive. And it's a huge opportunity to be part of something like that. And so I count it an honor to be here and part of a great brand like Paul Davis.
Awesome. So what does the last 18 months or so looked like for Paul Davis, both with COVID and more mergers and acquisitions coming? That's been kind of a trend for a few years, but it seems to be building up now. So what does the last 18 months look like for Paul Davis?
Sure. So on the COVID side, I would point out a few things. I think everybody knuckled down during COVID. Every brand that's involved in our space that deals with what we all deal with was qualified to help do cleaning and disinfecting of surfaces during that time. We deal with Cat 3 losses and things like that with pathogens that allow us all to be uniquely qualified very early to take care of this. And I hope that our peers did the same there to help people out in a time of need. But I think there were three things that I really mentioned during COVID where we particularly paid attention and knuckled down. The first was the physical health of our team. That was really important, obviously. And so we put many protocols in place to make sure that we were being healthy, proper cleaning techniques, obviously wearing PPE correctly, and really making sure that we followed CDC guidelines. That's the first thing. The second thing was to make sure that all of our offices across North America were doing the same. And so we made sure that protocols were conveyed, research was shared. We had daily phone calls talking about being safe out there. And also on that physical health side, making sure the team was healthy. We were also working really hard to make sure that our offices stayed financially healthy as well. And then third, and certainly not least, and I suppose in not a particular order, we were also very careful to make sure that our customers were taken care of health-wise during that time too. So there was lots of planning and then very quick execution to make sure that everybody was safe during the pandemic that, we're all still experiencing today. So from a COVID front, that's what I would say there. Around the M&A space, fascinating climate, right? That's been going on for a while, like you just mentioned. We're seeing mergers and acquisitions continue to take place, and no surprise. And this is a very exciting space, continues to be an exciting space, and will be an exciting space. For us, we have found that there's a few things that are important. One is that FirstService has owned Paul Davis for a very long time, since 1999, and they intend to stay strong in this space, and we're thankful for their partnership as we move forward. And I don't take that lightly. And what that does is that creates some certainty inside our brand that will continue to grow and build during any season, whether that's a pandemic, a recession, or a great market. The other thing that I would say that I think is interesting is that we have seen and made a couple acquisitions ourselves that have converted to Paul Davis. And that's been neat, where they actually get purchased. And we also have some where we have folks that convert to becoming Paul Davis. One of the reasons there, I think, is that there's a few. I think first would be that we're a national brand that's recognized, but also we work with carriers that are national, that want to work with bigger brands and can work with single and more concise points of communication. But also folks realize that we're an organization with a world-class training team. And that training team is one that we're really proud of, very highly certified and experts in our field, but also are experts in training and supporting people. And that leads to the other part of it, which I think is the fact that we've got a tremendous support team at Paul Davis. We're here to support our franchisees, and that's what our business is about. And because of that, people can grow more freely, and they're in an environment when they've got 325 other friends to bounce ideas off of as well. So pretty grateful for that.
Okay. All right. So bouncing off of that a little bit, thinking about local markets, and you have like a local Paul Davis, how can being part of a franchise network or being part of Paul Davis help these contractors stay competitive in their marketplace where there is other consolidation happening?
Sure. I think there's a whole bunch of reasons. A couple that we just mentioned, obviously keeping up on training, great support along the way, as well as when we look at the consolidation that does continue to happen, it's not going to slow down anytime soon. We know that to be true from other industries. And so how our franchisees stay really up to speed, quite frankly, and often ahead, is that we work together. We've got a great collaborative team here. A matter of fact, we just recently met this last week with our National Executive Committee, which are our presidents of our different districts that we have. And we find ways to synergistically work together, where we say, hey, what do you need? What kind of things are you feeling in the field that we can do to help support you? And then we work with the things that we learn there with many national organizations, as well as the IFA as well. Making sure we can do everything we can to keep franchising strong out there in the networks.
So what does it look like when something like Ida hits and you have your national response team? So you have that can go help the contractors. Right? So what does that look like to mobilize and send Paul Davis resources into a CAT zone?
I couldn't be any more proud. It's actually a bit of an emotional feeling. I couldn't be more proud of our team. When I look at the freeze down south, I hesitate to say Texas because it was more than Texas, but we saw a response there that we've never seen before, where we had dozens of offices come down to help support their peers and people in their time of need. During Hurricane Ida, everyone gets ready to mobilize down south. And then, of course, Ida continued to beat the stew out of the Northeast. And yes. So I'm so proud of the teams that have mobilized both down south and in the Northeast to help take care of peers who are obviously very overwhelmed with the number of losses that have come in from that. And obviously communities that are devastated because of it. And we love helping them to get back to as much normalcy as they can, as quickly as they can. So we're real proud of our folks.
Okay. So what are some of Paul Davis's big goals over the next few years? Now we've made it through COVID, hopefully, knock on wood. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud. We're moving forward. I don't know what to even say. Anyway, yep. And M&A continues. So what are Paul Davis's goals here?
Our very first goal in every single market we're in, plus in our home office, is to be the employer of choice. That's the very first thing. We want to be the kind of place where, and we are, the kind of place where people love to come to work every day, where they know that their work has purpose. They know that what they do can be measured, so they know when they're winning. And ultimately, at the end of the day, who they work with, well, we all know each other. And so it's neat to be known, to know what a win looks like and have purpose in your work. So that's the first thing, is the employer of choice. And that's paramount, by the way. I think that's the thing that probably separates us from so many other companies in the world, is that folks love working here. And one of the reasons is because we know that they come first. Everything else is after that. The second thing is that our goal is to dominate in the markets where we are. And that doesn't mean that, we're here to step on anybody's throats. Matter of fact, what we're here for is to support an industry that has a tremendous amount of opportunity to continue to grow over for years to come. And we want to partner with anyone who wants to partner moving forward. And so in a winsome way, we need to get out there and do a great job for people in their time of need. And that's how we do it.
Okay. So you're talking a little bit about the culture, but I wanted to dive a little bit more into that because hiring is obviously a huge challenge right now for any restorer. So what are some things, without giving away too many trade secrets, I guess, that you're doing to help draw people into the Paul Davis system and help keep them in once they're there?
I think there's a few, great question. And I'm happy to share. The first thing is that I think people need to be recruited to a vision. So where is it that we're going? Why are we here? What is it that we do? And we care about that, right? Because on hard days, that allows you to get through. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we have found that by having a very strong onboarding and training process, folks feel more secure when they get started. So that's a big piece of it. And then we hold people accountable for results in a way that's winsome, and we're here to support. And so what that means, tactically, is that people need to know our people and need to hear their stories. And when folks get to know folks who work for Paul Davis, it's very interesting to hear what comes out of that. Matter of fact, right before we got on this call, I was part of an interview process for a corporate team member who had talked to 14 other people already on the team before they get selected to hire. And that's not unusual for some roles at Paul Davis, because we want people to really know what it is that they're getting into and who it is they're getting into it with. And so that's not common in many of the roles, but in particular in this role, that's very common in that role. And I'm passionate about making sure that people know who it is that they're working with every day. And go around, kick the tires before you say yes a little bit on this, and be assured that you've got people that are, on the journey with you. So I think that part of it's important to me too.
Okay. I love it. That's a good idea. Interview processes are so important, whether it's just a few interviews or higher up, like really getting to know the organization. That's so critical. All right. So before we wrap it up here, what trends do you foresee the restoration industry needing to be aware of moving forward from here?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you mentioned one of them. Obviously, there's a lack of tradespeople. Yeah. That's true everywhere. Particularly in any of the trades, that's an issue. We need to get the word out. The word is that working in the trades is a great place to be. Folks get a lot of satisfaction at the end of the day for getting an opportunity to help people in their time of need in our space, and others get a chance to build things that didn't exist before, or paint something that was a different color before, or smoke damaged. So that's a big thing. The other thing, another trend that I would point out that I think is significant that everyone's feeling, is technology. Technology is moving very fast. Of course, data is prevalent, but with proper technology, we can stay ahead of that and really help our carriers get better information more quickly, which in turn will help us and allow our businesses to run more efficiently. I also would mention that a lot of people are talking about inflation right now, and I'm grateful for this industry that we're in, because having had our team do a bit of research into it, it's pretty neat to watch Xactimate and CoreLogic and some others, Symbility obviously, and some others really do a good job keeping up with the changes in pricing that are in the market. So I would just encourage anyone who's listening, keep your price information that you have, your updates flowing to them so that they can be accurate. And the third thing that I would say, or the last thing, fourth, I would say is that the world of TPAs is here to stay, and we embrace that. We have found that our relationships with our third-party administrators just remain strong, and it's a great opportunity for us to help more customers. And so those would be a few things that I would mention.
Okay. Do you train your members on how to give pricing feedback? That's something that a lot of contractors don't realize that they can do. And it really is, like you said, so important in influencing the price lists in markets. So is that something that you guys train?
Yeah, great question, Michelle. The answer is yes, absolutely yes. And we track who's doing it and how the movement is going. Because it's not about getting more out of the job. It's about getting it to be making sure it's accurate. Yep. Right. So that's the biggest piece. If this is what, OSB costs in your market, let's make sure it's correct. If this is what, a plumber costs in your market, let's make sure that's accurate, or a laborer costs in your market, let's make sure that's accurate.
Okay. That's the first time I've ever heard somebody say that they train people on how to do pricing feedback. No joke. So kudos to you. That's awesome. Okay.
Super important.
It is. All right. So anything else you want to share before we wrap it up?
I guess I would just say this again, as I probably let out with, this industry is a really exciting space to be. I don't know where else you can go where you get to help people and run a business that can grow and be an organization that creates a profit and can create jobs for other people at the same time. Here at Paul Davis, for us, our vision is to provide extraordinary care while we serve people in their time of need. And what's neat about that for me also is that we do that with great people who deliver best in class results. And how much fun is that? So I'm really grateful.
This industry is awesome. I can't imagine being anywhere else. That's for sure. Yeah, I think a lot of people that are here are like that.
Yeah, I would agree. The passion of folks in this industry is awesome and inspiring. I don't want to be anywhere else.
Same. All right. Well, thanks, Mike. Have a great rest of your day. I appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks a ton.
For more Restoration Today, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, or find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts.